Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Michael, and I'm exploring all the different ways that stationery can make my life more interesting. I thought it would be really fun for us to unbox this Traveler's Notebook Passport size that I purchased recently at Yaseka Stationery in Brooklyn. I was there for the TN stamp caravan, and while there, I bit the bullet and got this passport size to serve a very specific purpose. As someone who has a lot of different interests, stationery being a new one, I'm also a person who plays Dungeons and Dragons, and I thought it would be really, really fun to use the passport size as my new Dungeons and Dragons notebook. For those of you who don't know, Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game. You create a character, there are rules to follow, and you have a dungeon master who kind of tells a story, and you all role-play within it, using the limitations set forth by the different traits that your character has, and you work together as a team with your other players to kind of, complete the missions or go on the journey that the dungeon master or storyteller is telling. And I thought it would be really fun to be able to use a traveler's notebook. I currently am just taking, information down in like a normal notebook and on like the pre-printed pages that Dungeons and Dragons provides. But I thought it would be really fun to kind of take that information and put it into a traveler's notebook, since the leather aspect of it and the look just kind of lends itself to the style of the game. So come along with me as I unbox this. So sorry if you're the person who doesn't like that plastic crinkling sound, but here is how the notebook comes. We've got this on the back, letting us know everything that comes in the package, the dust bag, the leather cover, one blank insert, and an extra spare rubber band. Got this kind of little title card. This will definitely be some ephemera from all of the different things that I collect that I can put into my stationery notebook, which is in my regular sized traveler's notebook, which I have in olive here. But let's continue. So I'm going to pull. Now, I shared in my Traveler's Traveler's Notebook Stamp Caravan video that I did purchase this to also be able to stamp the dust bag. I'm just going to take these leather care instructions out of the box as well. There's also a spare rubber band that comes here as well. And I'm going to actually pull this one free from the box to use and to save as well. So I took this dust bag and I stamped it with some of the Traveler's Notebook Caravan stamps to kind of decorate it as well. So that is a nice memory that I will have. And here is the notebook itself. And so, again, I got it in the passport size in black. It's beautiful. There's already a little bit of an indentation here, but I guess that is what makes these notebooks so great, is the character of the leather and eventually how it patinas and gets worn over time. Inside, there is one kind of standard insert. This is kind of like a blotter paper because I did also stamp this in the stamp caravan with this stamp that says, "Keep on traveling in your mind with Traveler's Notebook." And for a tabletop role-playing game where a lot of what we do is the fun things we make up in our mind, I thought that that was very fitting. It also comes with an elastic already put in the back. I'm gonna slide this out because we will be doing something with this later. So, I've got this one insert. This cord is the bookmark. I'm gonna push that to the side. And then there is this rubber band that is kind of holding that insert in place. That rubber band gets strung around, held in place, like so. This blank insert that comes with the notebook, I'm intending to use this as kind of like a place to keep notes on the rules of the game or other things that are like lore related, that are overarching, that could go for any Dungeons and Dragons campaign. I am a beginner when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm learning all sorts of different rules and information as I go, and I think this will be a great place for me to like jot that information down, and then it can always stay in this notebook regardless of the campaign that I'm playing, to be able to refer back to it at any time. I do have other needs for this notebook, and so I went and purchased some other inserts as well. So first being the passport size insert that is in grid, with grid paper. And the reason I wanted to get a notebook that is with grid paper is, as I am taking notes on the different campaigns, I think having grid paper is really, really essential. So this will be a notebook that will be for the current campaign that I'm playing, and I'll use it until I either get to the end and have to get another one to continue, or we're done with the campaign and it will be for this campaign only. And the reason I think grid is really important is that, as you can see from earlier, and I can show it here, the notes that we take sometimes are words, like what is happening in the story, and then other times, you know, as the said title goes, Dungeons and Dragons, we're in a dungeon or some other intricate map. We're like drawing down what exactly is happening and where things are located would be really, really important. And I think having a grid insert is going to be really great for that, because I don't have to worry so much about creating like the square shapes and things, because I'll have the grid there to kind of help me out. And so that is what this grid insert is going to be used for. And then the last insert that I purchased for now is this zipper case that has pockets. And that is because I can imagine that I'm going to have all sorts of extra bits and bobs that I'm going to want to keep in place. And having this insert with these pockets is going to be really, really helpful for that. So for example, I have some cards for the different types of spells that my character can do, and I can see myself being able to kind of tuck the deck in here, or even, you know, the more important ones, kind of sliding them in this bigger pocket, and then maybe even printing some that are like down to size that could slide in here, creating some smaller cards that might have some more pertinent information. And so I think that that'll be really, really helpful to have this as I go through. And even for now, I'll just tuck this one in here as an example of that. And then lastly, I purchased these connecting rubber bands because I do want to have more than one insert in this notebook. And this is the way that Traveler's Company allows you to do so. I've seen lots of videos online about different ways to combine more than one insert into the Traveler's Notebook. I've even seen people who kind of like hack the notebook by kind of wrapping more than one cord so that there's two cords in the spine to be able to connect notebooks. I've seen people do some sort of like accordion style where they tape inserts together and then it'll fold out, you know, 4 notebooks outwards from the center. And I think a lot of those are really, really interesting, and I actually would love to explore that as this notebook system gets more complex. But for what I'm going to be using this for right now, I think just having these 2 notebooks and this pocket will be enough. And so let's get started on setting that up. So with that, I need to take one of these bands kind of out of here. I'll put the rest to save. I know they tell you to give it a little stretch before you use it. And so here is how we're going to connect these 2 inserts. So you find the center page. I'm going to want the grid notebook to be first because that's where my session notes are, and this is more of a reference notebook, so it's going to be second. and I'm going to take this connecting band and use it to connect them. I put the back cover of the first notebook and the front cover of the second notebook together. I find the center spot where the staples are, and then I'm going to take this rubber band and kind of connect them by these chunks. I'm going to slide down, trying to make sure I avoid this connecting band kind of like rolling onto itself. Great. And then I'm going to do a little stretch, and now these two notebooks are connected, which will allow me to take the cover, take the center band, slide it through, and then boom, I now have the two notebooks inserted. Next, I'm going to take, in the center area, this pocket. I'm going to slide it, if I can grab that band, in here. And then the last thing I'm going to add is this kind of special insert that I created myself. In Dungeons and Dragons, your character, like I mentioned, has different statistics and stats, and so I took the sheets that, the PDFs that you can kind of take that are like generic sheets to do that, and printed them smaller to fit into this passport size little notebook that I then stapled down the center, and I can have my statistics at the ready, and I think sliding it here in the center as well would be a great way so that when I open up to the center of the notebook, I have all of the quick information that I need. And then we'll close this up, and oh, this is sticking out more than I would think. I think the problem is I need to, let me move this puppy. I think this needs to be actually on the outside, kind of enveloping the other two notebooks. I think that's how it's designed. I'm realizing that there is more of a spine here in the fold, has more room, so I think they're expecting you to kind of lay this like this behind all of your notebooks and then slide it in. Yeah, that's better. Not sure how I feel about this little doodad sticking out. Maybe if I pull a little more on this side. Yeah, that's better. Still not the greatest, but better. And then in between these two, I can kind of stick my special insert. Oh, but that is still sticking out a lot. I don't think I measured this quite correctly. Oh yeah. Well, back to the drawing board on this one, but it's only the tiniest bit overlap. So I just kind of need to reformat that. I made this in Canva. Like I said, I screenshotted the template and then kind of just rearranged it, but I think I must have put the proportions off or measured incorrectly. All right, I'm really sad this didn't work out, but I will go back to the drawing board, shave off about 1/2 inch, and then it should fit. And then that will be great to have that information kind of there in the center. I'm really sad that I did not measure this properly. But imagine, if you will, that my character's information will live in an insert right here in the center, and then that means that when I open my notebook, I'll have a pocket here, my area for notes, my character's information, and then kind of an archive of important rules or different facts for the game back here. So that is the setup of all of the inserts. Obviously, I'll be having a grand time of taking what is already from the sessions that we've had of our games and transcribing it into this first notebook. Maybe that could be a nice journal with me video one day. Just bring you along for that. But the last thing I guess to do is to reattach the rubber band and the charms. So I went online and I found an Etsy shop that had great charms, and I went and got myself a D20, which is a 20-sided die, and a sword. I attached them onto this little link, and I'm going to attach them to the notebook to give it that perfect Dungeons and Dragons feel. So to do that, first I need to take the knot out of this elastic band, because you're going to go to the back where the hole is located. You're going to push one side through, and then I'm going to lace the charms through, and then the other side is going to go through the hole. This is where I also like to check really quickly that when I do close the notebook, the charms are going to lay properly, because, yep, that works. So that's exactly how I want it to look. So now I'm going to go back here and I'm going to tie off this string, this rubber band, excuse me, the way it was when I first got it, which I think was about here. Pull taut, and then pull it around, and that is backwards. So there we go. And so there you have it. My charms on my notebook. That looks so good. And that is my Dungeons and Dragons notebook. Obviously, these extra connecting bands, the extra rubber bands, I'm going to put these away with any extra inserts, maybe in this dust bag, and that way I can kind of display them and I'll know where they are at all times. But that's really exciting. I'm really excited to sit down, get ready for Dungeons and Dragons, and be able to just have all of my information in one place. That is really, really amazing and matches the vibe of the game. And that I get to bring one of my hobbies into another. And that's the dream, right? Really quickly, as a bonus, I thought that I would add to this unboxing video by showing you the Love and Trip insert for the standard Traveler's Notebook size. I recently purchased this. This is the theme for this year's Traveler's Notebook exclusive line. They have a new Traveler's Notebook in a red color that goes along with it, but I thought it would just be really fun for us to see what this looks like as an insert that will be eventually added to my standard size Traveler's Notebook. So some more crinkling. Now I know almost anybody in the stationery verse or stationery world on YouTube has done an unboxing of these, but it is just, the foil is so beautiful, and this red color, oh my god, just look at that. And it is really awesome that they have these kind of cards that you can pull out to write messages to friends. I'm just thinking of all of the Happy Mail that I can add these to, and the colors are just so vibrant and beautiful. And then that is a blank insert. And I did also bring this to the Stamp Caravan to stamp it as well. But just lovely. I'll have to think of a really great reason to use this. Currently, I think I mentioned in previous videos, but currently in my traveler's notebook, I have an insert from Yoseka Stationery that is my like stationery journal, and I have an insert that is my like New York experiences kind of travel journal. I've been thinking about doing one about bookstores that I visit anytime I go abroad. I do love to visit bookstores and just see like any notable bookstores that that country has to offer. If it's a country that doesn't speak English, any like expat bookstores where there are English titles, to see what the expat community is like there. And maybe this will be a good one for that, because I do love books, and so maybe that will be my love and trip. Well, thank you for letting me unbox that with you. And some more, let's hear some more noise for that foil. Well, thank you so much for coming along with me and setting up this Dungeons and Dragons journal. I'd love to know, what do you use your traveler's notebooks for? Are they just travel notebooks, travel journals? Do you use it as your everyday carry? Is it your diary? Is it, you know, super specific journals for very hyper-focused topics? Or do you use them for other hobbies like this? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you again for watching. I hope that you are having a great rest of your day, or beginning of your day if it's the morning. Yeah, keep exploring paper and all the possibilities that stationery brings to you, and I will see you next time.